So, welcome to SquashJohn series here of Let's Get to Know. And today I've got the great pleasure of getting to know Marwan Shorbagy. Yesterday it was your coach, Marwan. Today it's you. I've really hit the jackpot this week here in Cairo.
Hi, Johnny. How are you? No, I'm happy to be here with you and look forward to this interview.
Thank you. We're also going to try and get Rod over here for a little game afterwards. It's going to, we hope that there'll be plenty of laughs and maybe a few funny faces coming out of that one.
Fight!
But
that's good to know.
Yeah,
well done.
I still think he's the greatest of all time.
And then what's the female? Shabini.
Yes, correct. Half a point for Rod. This is better than I thought it would be. Rod loves his drop contest. 20 minutes. Who's going to make the least mistakes? What did he say the result was? Out of 10 times, how many does he win?
8. Yeah, I think so. Full of himself.
You're unlucky. Because when I asked him, he said 8 at first, and then he goes, "No, make it 10."
Oh. Oh my God!
Things with you. I want to go back, really wind back the clock. You were 14, 15 years old. You're a top junior, and then you follow in your brother's footsteps, and you go to Millfield in England and start working with the great Jonah Barrington. A lot of I can imagine for you at that age, it still must have been quite daunting to go over to England as a young fella and change of country, change of scenery, change of everything, change of life.
Yeah, I mean, it was a big decision, of course, having to make at such a young age. I mean, honestly, my parents are the one that made that decision for me because when you're young, you really don't know what's best for you and what are the right decisions to make and stuff. So I think my parents basically wanted to give me and my brother the same opportunities, and I moved a year after my brother moved. Honestly, I think it was the best decision ever that's ever been made for me because before I moved to England, I wouldn't say I took squash so serious. I was still like one of the top juniors. But
winning British Junior Opens, by the way, not being serious.
No, I actually, that happened when I moved to England.
Okay.
So, no, I was very fortunate to be in Millfield School and having Jonah and Ian Thomas working with me, and Joey, of course, was helping, and being to train at the same place where my brother trained at Millfield was such a great setup for me, honestly, and the school was amazing. So I had a great time there, and the feeling of leaving my country, as you said, and leaving my family and my friends, and completely change of culture was so important for me because I started taking a lot more responsibilities in my life, and this is where it all started. I won the British under 17 and under 19, and then won World Juniors a couple of times as well. So I think moving to England was the main reason why I had a successful junior career.
Yeah, there we go. And I mean, you've had in England, you obviously worked with Jonah Barrington, then you're with Hadrian Stiff. Now with Rodney, of course. I want to sort of move on to the 2017 World Open final. You belong to that very elite or special category of siblings that have been in the top 10, but you're the only two that have ever played. Sorry, I have to correct myself there because British Opens back in the late 50s, we had brothers in the Khan family playing each other. But other than that, certainly in the modern game, it's only been you and Mohamed where a family's been in a World Open final, the most important match of the year, singular match. I want to just sort of give us a bit of an insight into how was it like on that day? You go to breakfast, did you sit together or did you sort of sit apart? I mean, you're pretty chilled together, so I'm just wondering, how was it on that day, everything in and around it?
I mean, it was definitely a special day for the family, but it was one of the hardest days both of us had to deal with. I mean, I think that was the first season. Me and my brother used to share rooms, and I think that 2017 season I think my brother started that, he lost the world number 1 spot, and he wanted to come back that season to world number 1. I think me and my brother we started to play at the latest stage of the big events in that season. So that was one of the first few events that my brother stopped sharing the rooms with me.
Okay.
So which helped a lot, everyone having his own space during the event, especially when we play at the latest stages of the tournaments, if we get to play in the semis and the finals. So it's always better that everyone have his own space. So, I mean, honestly, that day was full of emotions, of course, because at that day I knew how much my brother wanted to win the World Championship, and I never played a World Championship final, and it was all exciting for me, and I had no pressure, but I also wanted to win at the same time. So it was so hard for both of us because we knew that whoever wins will stop his brother from winning a World Championship. So as much as it's a good day, but it will also be a sad day for someone. But yeah, I mean. It was tricky. My dad also flew especially from Egypt that day to come and be there as well for a moment like this. But I mean that morning I tried to avoid him as much as possible. I knew he was practicing before me, so now I made sure that I do the physio session at the same time, and I was sneakily looking at him from very far and seeing him how he's training
Giving
and
him a
how
little
he's
wave.
practicing. But yeah, and then once you get on court, it's a war because I know he wanted to win so badly, and I wanted to win also. And the good thing about me and my brother when we play, we kill each other on court, but once it's done, it's done. We're both very aggressive on court. We like to play very tough and sometimes we play fast, and the match always have something, so always something special, because two brothers competing at the highest stage, I mean, it's a day I will never forget, for sure.
Yeah, it was incredible. You lost 3-2. It was a great match, though, and possibly you were the one who was more released in terms of the way you were able to play, like you said, underdog, and almost got through. Let's hope that you get another chance. Who knows?
Yeah.
You're working with Rodney now, and you're certainly on a good track at the moment. But so's your brother, funnily enough.
Yeah.
We'll come back to that. Now, Rodney, I've always sort of put it out there. This guy, for me, technically, is in terms of the way he gets, he gets on court with players, the way he can go into detail. There's nobody who can analyse it, break it down better. He's like a master engineer for me. There's this golf course just behind us there, Marwan. They're doing a lot of curating. Did you manage to get out on the golf course with Rodney by chance? Because he was
yet.
4 over for 9 holes.
No, he's too good. He's too good. I've seen him play the other day.
He shot 4 over. He said he's normally,
as you said, technically he's good.
Unbelievable.
Technically he's good. No.
So how do you? What I want to ask is like the modern game. Obviously, you started in 2010 on tour, 13 years. And things, you've been through an unbelievable era. Shabana, Matthew, even caught the end of Palmer and Linku, and then James Willstrop and Gaultier, and your brother.
You're making me feel old now.
Well,
You're making me feel old.
Tell us how the game is developing and changing in terms of speed, power, the cut and thrust.
I mean, now it's changed a lot. Now it's so hard, of course, because you play at such a fast pace, and you have to do it for a longer duration. You have to be physically, mentally, and even improve your game. You try to improve and minimize your weaknesses as much as possible on court. I think it's and the squash is harder. I feel physically, especially on the body, and I think the depth as well. You look at someone like Joel Makin, like he's not even inside the top 10, and look what he's achieving. And you have players that are coming back from injuries like Gawad, Abul Ghar, Yusuf Ibrahim, and those players are not even playing during this season. So imagine, the next season.
Bulgar's ranked 70 something.
Yeah, exactly. So,
but we know that that's not true.
But it's so hard. But I would say also playing like the older generation. I always say that was the best generation of ever that played the sport. The generation of Nick and James and
not Rodney, Jahangir, James.
Well, I wasn't.
That's an interesting point you brought up there. Wow.
There wasn't much squash TV that you could see week in, week out. And I've lived. I've seen Nick and Greg and my brother coming to them and giving them tough matches at the beginning, and then Rami, Shabana, Darwish, Lenko, Palmer. I've seen, James. So it's, I always say that was the best generation that ever came.
Golden generation.
The golden generation. 100% the golden generation. I feel we as a generation were a bit unlucky that we came straight after them.
Because you didn't get the bottom of the dip, so to speak.
Yeah, I always say every time I stepped on court with Rami and Nick, I always feel I was so lucky to be able to get on court with them and say that I beat Greg one time and saying that I beat Nick one time or something. I always made sure that I enjoy just getting on court with them. And even with my brother now, whenever I get on court with him, I want to also enjoying the battle with him, because there's so much on court that you have to deal with when you play him, because he's the only player that I always say that he's the only player. Before I go on court with him, I always wonder, what is he going to do today? How is he going to play?
Yeah.
You know, like, is he going to play fast? He can change, you know, the way he plays, just like
quick drop tactic sometimes after 1-1 maybe, and he comes in and tries to hit some sneaky winners.
Exactly, you know. So he's always very hard to play. I always find from that perspective. But yeah, generation before us, I mean, it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. You know, mentally, they were unbelievable. You know, even though maybe you watch the matches right now and you say it's a bit enjoyable now to watch, like in terms, because it's of the how fast the matches are. Maybe you say the matches were a little bit slower maybe than now, but still, like, just being around this generation was it was scary.
Exactly. You can look back, and just as an example, I think Canary Wharf, James Willstrop, like cramping up in the back corner and then falling over, can't even finish the match. So I think you touched upon it. It's just that mental toughness of those guys.
Nick could play just fast, volley everything for 5 games. It was unbelievable. And Greg used to be a nightmare to play the first few rounds. You know, it always go in the match when 11-love, 11-1. Gives you no chance.
He talked about the direct route to the semis, the autobahn, where he just crushed people 3-love early.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. And Shabana, I mean, the only thing I always regret, the only one time I played Shabana, it was one time that he actually couldn't finish the match because he had like some issues off court. But I would have loved to be on court with him for more for sure.
Yeah, another just a maestro with the racket skills, very silky. Now, you're a smooth operator yourself. I've always been a huge fan of your technical side. Your brother, he's on a run of form, mate. I mean, what we're seeing here, is it a kind of new brand? Like, we're talking, you know, he's going up on that short line, he's chopping and changing the shots, he's killing the ball long. He's giving no breathing space for his opponent whatsoever, and his accuracy levels are unbelievable. I mean, I'm going to back him today he's playing in the final today against Mohamed, but I feel like this is what we're going to see more of from Mohamed the next couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, you can never write him off, you know. Even like I knew when he had a bad season and he lost motivation, he wanted to stop, you know. I mean, of course, because I'm so close to him, so I knew all the insights of it, but I've always believed you will come back from this. If you have to put money on one player to come back from a terrible season, and his terrible season is still like going to world number 5, so it's not like going outside the top 10, or it's not like a nightmare, you know. He's still, even when he had bad, even during the worst season, he would always say he's a contender in this event, you know. You can never write him off, and I've seen it so many times where my brother used to like dominate more than this. I mean, used to dominate, of course, but I would see him injured, or before an event and not even ready, but I would always have the feeling that he would be able to go through that tournament and win a British Open, you know. I remember he had a big problem, and even some of the doctors told him, how did you manage to play on this leg, for example? And I'm sure other players, we all go through that, right? Like you play through sickness, you play through injuries, we all have done it, but yeah, he has done it for so many years. It's amazing. It's incredible, you know, to just see it. I mean, I was watching his match yesterday, and the way he did not feel comfortable from the first game. But how he just kept pushing through, and every time you would think Diego got him, my brother would step it up even more.
Yeah, he was launching more attacks. Like,
it was unbelievable. I was sitting in bed watching it, and I was like the last game, I was just on my feet. You know, I couldn't sit down. It was
standing up.
Couldn't believe it. The quality was great.
Seriously,
you know, both of them, and Diego as well. I mean, I feel sad for him because he does not deserve to lose as well. So he played a fantastic match. He's been on a great form. I mean, this season, when you look at it, I mean, that's what's good about this generation that I'm actually so interested in. Like last season, we've had like 7 majors, and we had like 5 different winners, or 4 different. Like we had a lot of different winners. Mix. And right now, you look at this season. At the beginning of the season, my brother was dominating. And then Ali, you know, reached the final of the Egyptian Open and won the Egyptian Open and lost the final. But he could have maybe won the US Open if it happened. Then my brother had a patch where he dominated again. San Francisco, New Zealand, Singapore, and then Asal won Hong Kong, Houston, and then Diego won TOC.
So it's keep like shifting around, don't they?
Exactly, you know. So and then Ali now is coming back from an injury. I was there. Paul is going to come back, I'm sure. So it's a good mix now as well. You know, it's a lot of quality matches. So it's a lot of players can win majors. You know, anything could happen.
Absolutely. I mean, I said
open,
I said on the comms during the week, you're parked at number 6. Your average is 980, just under 1,000, and the next guy at 7, where Victor Crouan this week has reached another personal milestone.
Yeah.
He's around the 800 mark. So there's a big gap. There is, average-wise, there's a big gap. And Rodney also said it yesterday that there's a solidification of the top 6. So there's a chasing pack there that are very strong as well. Crouan and Macon and Mohamed and all that.
I mean, everyone is doing. Everyone's playing. I mean, you look at this event. Everyone played well.
Yeah.
Really, apart from maybe Paul I'm sure would be a bit disappointed. But apart from that, like everyone played well in this event.
Yeah, it's a
lot of good matches as well.
A golden era, a platinum era, maybe.
Hopefully.
Last question, Marwan. It's a little bit early, really, to ask. I'm not going to ask it anyway, because, like I said, your smooth operator style of beautiful ball striking, there's so much fluency. Would you turn your hand at coaching post-career, or have you got other things in mind? I'm not suggesting anything, by the way.
You're making me feel old in this interview. I don't know what are you trying to I mean, I wouldn't make coaching like my full-time job, but I would definitely stay involved in the sport. I think I could be a very good coach.
Me too.
Because the way I play, like sometimes I actually look at players, I'm like, if they only do that, they can be somewhere else. And I know I can teach, because it's all about, for me, getting into the position. That's one of the reasons I actually went to Rodney as well, because I felt I lost that a little bit in the last season. Plus, I lost a lot of motivation and all that. And I know going to Rodney would just make me come back to how I was playing, And but I was surprised because, he has one or two good ideas that are not bad. So he's okay.
Funny thing is, the irony is that Mohamed originally went to him to deal with the problem of you.
Yeah.
That's one of the main reasons.
Ironic, isn't it? The hunter has become the hunted.
True. I mean, I mean, of course, I mean, my brother played very well actually when he was with him. He changed his game a bit and he started lifting the ball a bit more, I remember. And I mean, I guess so. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we'll round it up there, Marwan, because we're going to try and get a hold of Rodney and do this head-to-head clash. I'm really looking forward to that. But I want to thank you very much for joining us here today. It's been brilliant, very insightful. A nice sort of look back at the last 15 years as well. And we wish you the best of luck on your quest also to become world number 1 world champion.
Thank you.
Thanks,
I appreciate it. Thank you, mate. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, we've got 4 championship balls for Mohamed Shorbagy, his 3rd final. He's done it. Mohamed Shorbagy's done it. Marwan running out of juice at the end there.
9-11, 11-7, 9-11, 11-6.
So Mohamed Shorbagy, his 3rd World Championship final. He gets the title. Some terrific squash between the two brothers. Really, really good squash. You see the face, can relax now. He's been through it a bit, Mohamed Shorbagy, emotional. 71 minutes of very entertaining, nerve-wracking squash. Mohamed Shorbagy overcoming his brother, Marwan Shorbagy. 3 games to 2.
Now then, the moment you've all been waiting for, we'll invite Lufur Rahman to come forward to present the Men's World Championship Trophy. Please show your appreciation for the Men's 2017 AJ Bell PSA World Champion, Mohamed Shorbagy!
one last thing. I want to thank everyone for coming here today. You guys have been great all week. And I want to present two people to come into court, because to be honest, this trophy shouldn't be mine. This trophy is for my mom and dad. So I would like them to come into court. Please, come.
They're just making their way down to court now. A nice man. We're going to let you enjoy this, okay?
I wanna present the current world champion, my mom and my dad. Thank you.